Welcome today to the Pivot Me podcast. And we've got a quick tip I needed to bring to you right after I had a call with Kyle. And I'm going to tell you why I told Kyle not to do LinkedIn ads. Now, I hope this doesn't get me in hot water, but here we are. So, Kyle is growing his business and it's a service based business. And he hired this marketing company and he hired this big firm, came in, is going to tell him all the things that he needs to do and where he should be spending his money. Okay, that's great. Marketing firms can be incredibly valuable if you need their services. And I'm going to say that because that part's important. If you do not have aggressive growth plans, then you might be able to do it through another form like retention plans if you've got enough existing business and really scaling your business isn't your objective. But let's just say that it is. So he brings in this marketing firm and they're like, here's where it's at: LinkedIn ads. Now, let me first say, I agree with them that LinkedIn is his like platform. Most people don't think of LinkedIn as a social media platform. It is. It's just kind of like social media for for professionals. However, if you're, a law firm, a CPA firm, an engineering firm, usually in those instances, LinkedIn is the right place for you to be. And I agree, he should have a strong presence on LinkedIn. But here's why I disagreed with him running LinkedIn ads. And they were moving ahead with this quick. When I looked at his LinkedIn profile, let me actually take a step back. So if you're looking at bringing in leads, whether it's a product-based business, a service-based business, regardless of what it is, let's just say you are a consultant, and you're a service-based business. LinkedIn's a great place for you to be. However, if you're going to be paying for attention, you need to understand if you're looking for leads, one of the most expensive ways to get leads is running ads. Now, I'm not saying running ads is a bad thing, but you need to acknowledge that there are far less expensive ways to get leads. Now, let's just say you're like, yeah, I know, April, but I still want to run ads. Okay, that's fine. So imagine if you have let's make this analogous to I've got a restaurant. Now I'm going to pay for someone to stand with a sandwich board outside of my restaurant and I'm going to yell, hey, come see my restaurant. You would want the front of that restaurant to look good. If you are selling French cuisine, whatever's on the window of that restaurant should promote, hey, we are, for example, high-end French cuisine, bring your date here, propose here. There should be some kind of very clear message of what that storefront does and what audience it caters to. So let's go back to the LinkedIn ads. So he's running LinkedIn ads. He's about to start. Fantastic. Awesome. I said, do you know exactly who your audience is? This is important. You have to be exactly clear on who you're best able to serve. If you try to speak to everyone, you will speak to no one. That's absolutely a marketing basis. This is just marketing basics, like trying to speak to everyone, you speak to no one. If you have too general of a message, it's not really going to resonate. It's not going to push on their pain point, or it's not going to attract them through pleasure well enough. So I can't just say, this is a restaurant. We sometimes serve French food, but we sometimes serve American food. And you could come here either after work or propose. It's romantic, but you can also, it's family friendly. Like that doesn't work. It's too generalized. We went back to the French restaurant. So let's go back to his service based business. Are you clear who you want to serve? Are you clear who you want to attract? Okay, yeah, I want to attract small business owners. Okay, what's small business to you? Because small business by SBA standards, it might be different than what they are to you. Well, between 5 and 20 million. Awesome. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so you want to attract businesses between 5 and 50 million. Or 15 million. Who typically hires you? Is it the owner of the business? Is it the marketing company? Is it the operations manager? Again, this is just, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but you have to be clear who you want to attract. It should not be everybody. It should be a very clear niche. And you need to be clear on who tends to make that call to you, who tends to hire you. Be clear on that, because if you think you're appealing to founders, but founders aren't who brings in your services, you've lost out. So for me as a business advisor, it's typically the founder, the CEO, the president who brings me in. So that means that I have to tailor my messages to those people. If I try to tailor my message to the chief marketing officer, they're not the people that hire me, and that is just wasted ad spend. So let's just say he's clear on who he serves, small business owners between 5 and 15 million. Awesome. He's clear on sort of the industry he tends to like. He's even clear on their pain point. Awesome. Now you know who you want to market those LinkedIn ads to. But I go to his LinkedIn page. And I hate to call him out, but It's a basic LinkedIn page. It does say his business, it does say his job title, but what it doesn't say is who the company that he owns is for. It doesn't say anything about small business. It doesn't say about anything about 5 to 15 million in revenue. And you don't have to specifically call out the revenue. But what you do have to do is be really clear on who you are attracting. Because if you're spending a lot of money on a LinkedIn ad or any ads for that matter, and they click through and then they're looking at your LinkedIn profile and it doesn't resonate, they will bounce. So if I'm paying someone to stand in front of my French restaurant with a sandwich board on, and they're like, come here, come here, come here. And I'm paying a lot of money for that guy to yell, come check out my restaurant. And then someone walks by and goes, okay, we just finished a basketball game. We'd like a place to go. They need to look at my storefront and go, ooh, that's not for me. And likewise, if a couple that's looking for a romantic evening and they really like duck, for example, and they're walking by, sandwich board guy gets my attention and they need to walk by and look at that storefront and say, "Ooh, that's for us. That's nice. That's high end. That's a romantic dinner." I hope you get my point. So if you're thinking about running ads, and I'm not an ad agency, I'm a digital marketing agency. I've hired plenty through my time. But if you're looking at ads, they seem cool because we see ads, right? He opens up his phone, he sees ads all the time. He opens up LinkedIn, he sees ad all the time. Naturally, he's going to think, if we want to grow our business, like don't pay for ads if that's not an objective. We want to grow our business. Ads might be the way to go. And the marketing firm says, yes, of course, ads are the way to go. And LinkedIn is absolutely it because of the nature of your consulting business. Make sure that the storefront looks good. So let's get into the tactical. I'm going to be really tactical on this. So that means if you pull up your LinkedIn profile, there's a background image. So not just the picture of you. And I am not a fan of the picture of you with your spouses. I feel like it doesn't send the wrong message. I know some people will die on that hill and you do you, but most importantly, it's got to resonate to the person you're trying to bring into your business. So for example, say I run a nonprofit and it is a dog rescue nonprofit. Well, then it would make sense for the photo of me in LinkedIn to be with a rescue dog. Like that totally makes sense. But I want you to be really clear about the messages that you're putting out there because really it's like running an ad in the newspaper. Your LinkedIn is like a constant ad advertising you and your business. Make sure it says the right message. Okay. So part of it is your image of you should be good and professional and all those things. But that background image on your LinkedIn should say something about what you do and who you do it for. So if you're struggling with that, let's go back to the basic elevator pitch, right? Like I am XYZ, I do XYZ for XYZ so that they can XYZ. So it might be, so for example, for me, I am a business advisor that works with small to medium sized business owners, help them scale their business without working more hours. For example, I'm a CPA firm that specializes in small to medium sized veterinarian practices, helping them stay on top of their finances without additional work or freeing up their schedule so they can do what they do best, which is care for animals. So when you are doing that LinkedIn background, think about what you do and who you do it for and let that show up on your LinkedIn background. So you shouldn't just have a static image. That image should have something to it, unless what you do is speak to crowds of kids. I've got a gal that I work with, Kim, and she runs Digital for Good. She speaks to an audience of kids. It would make sense that her LinkedIn background be a picture of her speaking to an audience of kids. Absolutely makes sense. And then in your bio, please don't just write CPA, lawyer, business advisor, whatever you are. Like, let it be specific so that people can immediately recognize they're for me or they're not for me. Again, you can't be for everybody. That's not an effective business strategy. You should be really clear on who you're best positioned to serve and who you really like serve. And that should come out on your LinkedIn website everywhere, guys. But what I don't want is for a marketing firm to convince you that you should be running LinkedIn ads akin to having a guy with a sandwich board in front of your French restaurant and you not have the right signage, you not have the right message. It's a short one today. Hope that serves you. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, please go get one, especially if you do any B2B. If you do any business to business stuff, you should. But one thing I love about LinkedIn that's started to lose this a little bit, but it is a more verified platform. It is one that people respect a lot more. It's a lot harder to get followers and connections on LinkedIn, and that is a good thing. So it's additional social proof for what you do. Hope this serves you, and we'll chat with you next Thursday. Take care. I hope this video added as much value for you as it did for us, but let us know. Let us know in the comments down below what you liked, what really struck you. Thanks for joining us today, and jump over to our next video that we've got set up for you, and let's level up together. Thanks.